What's up, everyone? It's Matt and Jeff back for another real review. I know the content's been lacking post-holiday. Finally get some stuff out there for you. If you haven't already, go check out the review for Night Bitch that dropped yesterday, that new Amy Adams film that comes out today, or came out today, I guess. And yeah, be sure to pay attention to the next few weeks because there are a ton of reviews that will be coming out. But we're here to talk to you about a specific movie that you can actually watch at home, and that's this movie called Plan B. Quiver Distribution actually reached out saying, hey, could you review, we saw your channel, could you review this film for us? And it's like, yeah, I'm always open to reviewing films. So it's a rom-com that has tones of Knocked Up, I guess is the best way to put it, and includes a cast featuring John Heder, the lead actress, Jeff, I know you know her. You said you're a fan of her. Jamie Lee. Shannon Elizabeth is a co-star, and so is Tom Berenger from Major League.
Tom Berenger.
I know.
You'll get it out.
Berenger from I always say it wrong. But Tom Berenger from Major League fame. And
Inception.
I forgot he was in Inception. But it's a fun little movie. You can watch it on Tubi, and we're gonna review that real quick because it was a decent time.
Yeah. So Matt mentioned that it has shades of Knocked Up. So it's a story of imagine the funny way in my brain of how to describe the movie is, what if someone, this is not what happened in the movie, just what if someone was inspired by the lines 18 years, and on his 18th birthday found it wasn't his.
Yep. That's a great way to put it.
The story is about Jamie Lee, who I found to be so charming and funny on the show Crashing, which was an HBO show that went on for 3 seasons from comedian Pete Holmes. And I wish it went on longer, but at the same time, I think that it actually ended in a really nice way that, if it didn't go on for another season, it was fine. So I really liked that show quite a bit, and I thought she was really good in it. And here she stars as a barista who likes to shoot. She shoots down these guys and blah, blah, blah. And she goes out one night and she gets drunk at I think it's at a club or a bar. And when she leaves to go home, she decides to hit on her neighbor, played by Napoleon Dynamite fame, John Heder.
And Benchwarmers. Don't forget Benchwarmers.
Don't forget Blades of Glory. Don't forget Surf's Up, dude. So remember, he's the chicken.
Yeah.
And she hits on him, and then they sleep together, and he says, don't worry, I got protection. They use protection. And then the next day, she immediately regrets it, as many of these one-night stand type deals are.
And he's
a bit of an odd guy. He's a bit of an odd duck, and she doesn't really like that. And then weeks go by, and it turns out, something might not be right. Turns out she's pregnant because his condoms are expired.
Which tells you the kind of guy he is. How
condoms are 99% effective? Well, we're the 1%. It's a fun joke.
Yes. I will say the way we find out she's pregnant is one of the funniest scenes in this movie.
Yes, it is. It is. And I think that the crux of the story, which is both, an interesting way to go and also something that, I have thoughts about, is when she finds out she's pregnant, she decides that because she doesn't like her neighbor, that she will trap another man into thinking the baby is that man's child. Yeah. And then that way she can have someone that she might like better as the father. And there's a lot, hijinks ensue, rom-com stuff, kind of goofy stuff, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, it's another film in the, ever growing subgenre of a lie revealed. You know, where someone starts a lie that's the basis of everything they do throughout the movie, up until the point of will it be revealed, will it not? That's where a lot of the tension comes from. And I'll say I'm watching, I'm like, she's so charming. Jamie Lee, she's so charming and
But the
she's so funny.
The character's such a horrible person.
And it's just like she's such a bad person. I couldn't. My biggest problem with the movie, there are a couple,
yes,
which is that I thought that as charming as the movie tried to make everything was, I couldn't get out of my head
how horrible
like
the person she is.
how horrible of like a decision this is, and that she's still moving forward with it. And the movie tries to lampshade it a bit, where it's like it acknowledges that it's bad, but then it keeps going. And I'm just like, I feel so bad for all of these people that are being affected by it. And then
by the time she's ready to come clean, it's hit this really horrible.
That's not the spoiler sort of thing. It's a very formulaic in terms of like, what do you think will happen based on this premise? Well, this. I think that the story beat like that. It definitely kept me at arm's length as a result. It's, you know, just how I felt towards that sort of storytelling. But it's clear that the cast was all game for trying to do what they could with it. I think that it was charming. It had some funny moments when she finds out, like the scene where she finds out she's pregnant. The lead up to that is definitely a funny thing. I also think that this is one of those things where I'm not someone who cares that much about budget sizes, right? I think that a movie is as good as it is, regardless of what the budget is. We've seen $250 million movies that look like shit. And
we've seen $80 million that look like $250 million movi's.
Yeah, exactly. You're thinking, I know exactly who you're mentioning. You're referring to the creator, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Look at that. And this, though, unfortunately to me, in some scenes, not all scenes, by the way, in some scenes where it wants to accomplish certain things, I think that the budget was
restrictive.
What was restrictive to a detrimental degree. I think of like the club scene that's later on in the film, where it feels like it's supposed to be like a lot of people there, and you look around and it's like, oh, there's like 10 people that keep like populating around to make it seem like it's like a packed place, but you could tell it's really not from the way it is. And you know what? I totally get it. I've made some short films in the past. I none of them are good, because I know where my technique lies, and it's the written word, or the spoken word, I should say. I'm not good at writing. And I think that much like last year, there was a horror slasher that I enjoyed called It's a Wonderful Knife, which was the story of It's a Wonderful Life, but with a slasher element thrown in. It's a Wonderful Knife. And it had a lot of fun stuff in it. It had charming things in it. And I think that one of the problems with that movie was the budget was so small that, unfortunately, things that felt like, oh, it's low budget, but it's fine, unfortunately, kind of like leans a bit too far into, oh, this isn't low budget, this might actually be a little cheap. And I find that I do not like to think that way about films, because making a film is so difficult, and the fact that it can even be made is, a testament unto itself.
It's a testament to the producers, to the creators behind it. It's really important.
But you know what? The movie is out there, and just like any other movie, just like any other piece of art, you have to take it for what it is, not what it wants to be or what it's trying to be. And what it is a, I know I'm kind of like speeding through it here.
It's a solid rom-com with some good laughs, because
yes,
the club scene, while yes, I agree, it was very weird seeing the same people populate. There's some really funny moments, especially when especially when she thinks she finds the right guy.
Yes,
Like
I think that was a funny thing.
And I saw it coming from a mile
I knew it
away,
immediately. I knew it immediately, and it was still a good punchline.
Yes.
But I think that just some production quality issues and the overall sort of trajectory of the story itself, kind of like I said, it kind of kept me a bit too far at arm's length.
Yeah.
So I wish that I liked it more. I'm happy that I saw it. I went and I made sure. I know that they provided us with a screener, and to me, I think that, you know, if it's available, I actually, like, even though I have streaming services and I can watch it here, I could watch it on Prime or whatever, because I think it's also on Prime Video. I went on Tubi and I watched it because my understanding is, you know, their ad revenue, it does in fact help these people in the long run. I'd rather do that.
As someone who's been a part of movies that are on Tubi, yes.
Yes, I'd rather go on that sort of thing and just watch it there, for the sake of supporting if I can. So I watch it on Tubi. You know, ads are really not that big of a deal. I like look, my rating on the movie. I know I'm just kind of jumping ahead to say it here.
Let me get my
Well, let me wrap it up. Let me wrap it up, and then you can talk about your thing, and then we'll go to review. My rating on the movie is more so just like base more on the things that I didn't like that brought it down more than the things that I liked that bring it up, if that makes sense.
Yes. And piggybacking off that, my rating, which we do have the same rating, reflects the same way. And the biggest issue for me is, like you said, the story. A similar story that kept me at arm's length for a film, another rom-com that people actually really dug, but I was not a fan of because of what the story was. And that's Jennifer Lawrence's No Hard Feelings, because I didn't like the idea of a woman prostituting herself out for a $1,000 car. So
I get that. I like that movie quite a bit more because I think that that it does what Plan B doesn't do as much, which is directly confront it rather than just acknowledge and then do it anyway. Yeah. But I get it a bit. I get where you can feel a little more that stuff.
But my point is my values for them and where my grade lands is because of similar issue. And again, it's she's as lovable and just endearing as the lead character is, the decision she's
lead actress, not character. The character is kind of scummy for this sort of decision, but she's a charming kind of scummy.
But that's my point. She is, as for scummy as she is, that's what I was getting to. For as scummy as she is, she's very charming. And with that in mind, that's why my grade reflects what it is. And I like I said, there's plenty of good laughs to be had in there. It's not like I felt like I wasted my time. I actually sat there and I'm like, I'd probably watch this one or two more times. If somebody asked me, hey, what's something I can watch, but I don't have all these streaming services, I'd be like, you can go to Tubi and check this out, no issue, because it is at least a fun enough time. And there are some performances like Jamie Lee's who are great. Like that's the reason I was really in on this. Heater's pretty decent too. There are some moments where it felt more like I was watching Napoleon Dynamite than I was actually him act.
We're just really used to his voice, which is odd because like this is a movie that like we just know from like, man, I'm 32 at the time of this recording here. Like I was prime vote for Pedro in middle school.
I'm 30, so I was right. But my point is like I don't even think it was the voice. It was more so how the character was, because the character himself is kind of a goof. So like when you factor that in,
they sleep together, and the next morning he gives the strangest head kiss to her, and I'm just like, oh man, I feel the shiver down my spine. That's what it means. Like the performance
and the talking to the cat, but like again, I'm not saying it doesn't work, but because of what I've seen him in, and it's just felt like I feel like I'm watching him play this character again rather than this character I'm watching. And that's only at certain points. For the most part, very fun performance. I did enjoy there's a scene where she ends up having him as her Uber driver, and he ends up taking her to her Lamaze class and joining in, not knowing that he is the father of this child. And that was a really fun and interesting scene.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. Yeah, it's a
there's
matter
a ton
of
of
we
there's a
like
ton of
stuff,
positives,
we dislike
like
stuff.
and the rating reflects that. So with that in mind, we both had
Down
a
the
rating
middle.
2.5 out of 5. It's nice, solid. I'm not other than the story. We just touched on the budget thing, but again, having made films myself, I know how hard that can be. So that's why I didn't really touch on that as much. But the story is the biggest detriment to me, and that is why I landed on this 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's the core piece of the story at the center, which I mean, it's like, oh well, if that doesn't work, then the movie as a whole kind of like breaks down a little bit. But there's so many little things there. It's clear that if they had a bigger budget, maybe if they were able to work a little more to, I know that you said like No Hard Feelings for You didn't work quite as well as and it worked better for me. I think that if it were to have, if they had been able to take another like pass or two with the script there for to try to confront the issue better, then it would have made the whole experience better rather than watching it and being like, stop telling me this is so quirky. This is a terrible thing you're doing. I don't know. It distracted me. And movies don't.
If the best friend stepped up a few more times and took a more harder stance on it, I think that would have made all the difference.
Yes, I think that if she had, even if like the lead character continued to do everything she did, but if the support system did a better job being a support system, then it might have. I think that would have definitely have helped in the end. I didn't hate the movie.
No,
I didn't love the movie. I found it to be, it was charming, and I hope that the actors are all able to continue to do
work.
Get good work.
Which, by the way, Vernon Davis, former NFL superstar, being in this movie was so out of left field for me. So yeah, if I
watch football, I would know who that was.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jeff, I know you don't watch football, but yeah, if you were
that's not true. I've seen the movie Invincible starring Mark Wahlberg.
If you know the now Washington Commanders at all, he was a star tight end at one point for them. So yeah, so that was interesting to me. But no, that's our review for Plan B. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for Quiver Productions for reaching out and having us watch this, because
thank you.
I did enjoy the experience overall. It was a fun movie for the most part. Like I said, just the issue was that story for me. But if you,
I've seen a handful of movies from Quiver Distribution. They always have like interesting stuff there. I'm a huge fan of their Becky movies, The Wrath of Becky. Like that was great. And then the one before that, which just Becky. It's Becky and then The Wrath of Becky. Like those are some of my favorite stuff that Quiver's released there. So they have good stuff there. They feel like they're on the same page as they're higher up than like Redbox or something, but they're lower. They're about the same as Vertical Entertainment or something. They make interesting stuff, not at the biggest budget, but they still make it so that way it's accessible for people to see, and I think that's cool. That's not an endorsement of like, oh, they told me to endorse. I just wanted to throw that out there.
But and I would agree to that. Definitely better than the Oath last year. If you haven't watched that review, go watch it. But anyways,
not from Quiver or
not from Quiver, not from Quiver,
just
not from
throwing
Quiver.
That out there.
Just throwing, yes, good thing to throw that out there. But but yes, if you haven't already, be sure to check out our sister channel, Watt Real Gaming. That's run by one of my partners, Taylor Cleek. He does a lot of our Twitch streams, as do I occasionally, and you can go check out all of our VODs there. Also, be sure to check out our show, Views from Metropolis, which I run. It's a Superman podcast, breaking down all the different iterations of Superman and some of the documentaries. Get into that a little bit. But yeah, be sure to check both of those out. And remember, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to everything we do over here at Watt Real Entertainment. We really appreciate it. Hoping to bring back the HB hose when Last of Us Season 2 starts up with myself, Jeff, and Paige. And yeah. But until then, folks, check out all the reviews. Check out all the podcasts. We will see you next time. I am Matt. That is Jeff. And this was another Real Review.